I just wanted to bounce off of that point and asking the question to you boys. The idea of, since we're talking about business, we're talking about entrepreneurship, which is something that I'm still trying to understand the definition of. And it's something that keeps changing every day. Just when I think, just when I think I have, I have the grasp. You know what I mean? Like, I know what this is. Something hits me, and I'm still. I think I'll. It's one of those fields I feel I will forever be a student in. And we're talking of mindset. We're talking of the environment or the system or the society as is. Versus approaching it with an attitude or an appetite for succeeding, an appetite for wanting better and working towards it. What do you think could help young people to nurture and cultivate an entrepreneurial mindset? Take more risks, what I mean, put themselves more out there, look for opportunities, make their lives and the lives of other people better. Like, what do you think on a personal level are some of the ways that work, to approach that mindset, like to nurture that mind, especially with Archie. I'm so happy that he's here I think here's a very direct example we can use of somebody who took a shot at something and he's been growing ever since. I mean, with Archie Media Agency, thousands of subscribers across platforms, a very visible presence in Liberia and across the meta space. What's that like? What qualities, perhaps what steps, what attitudes, what behaviors do you young people need to take to sort of approach the entrepreneurial mindset and cultivate that?
Yeah, so, firstly, as young people, right, we need to understand the concept of entrepreneurship is more of problem solving, right? So that's the first thing that comes to mind. From the moment you refer to yourself as an entrepreneur, that means you are a problem solver. So, and you cannot solve a problem that you have not experienced, right? So,
see, I like where this is going.
Take into consideration, right, my startup.
Right.
So what was happening back home was the fact that storytelling was something that was lagging. Mainly, for NGOs, small businesses. A lot of these businesses, even individuals, right?
Yeah.
They have a lot of great stories.
Yeah.
But the platform were not given to them, and besides, there was no one to help them, bring that story to the forefront. So that was the problem we saw, and we're like, okay. And for me personally, this was something I experienced back home. The school I was in, a lot of kids, with great minds. People, did a lot of innovative things. There's this kid I knew from one of the town in my home country.
Yeah.
He did a car. The car, he used a cartoon.
Okay.
Yeah. So those kind of stories, they don't go anywhere usually. So I'm like, okay, I think we can do something since I already have a platform.
Yeah.
That has some sort of attention. I think I can use my platform to elevate the voices and to bring some of these kids to the spotlight. At the time, our direction was not focused to businesses. It was just individuals, like stories of individuals that should be spotlighted. So we launched the initiative, and then we did a research. Yeah, because with these things at times, if you want to venture into such idea, you need to be sure of what exactly you are doing and how much interest people will show in it. So we did a research amongst some individuals. We did, it was a Google survey, if I'm mistaken. We did a Google survey. We shared amongst people who were doing something. And then the feedback we got was quite impressive. So I was like, okay, that means this is something that is lagging. So we spoke with few stakeholders. A lot of them, they were like, wow. They were all, glad that this is something that we are thinking about. So after the research, we finalized it. We came to a conclusion that this is a problem. And from my standpoint, even though I was sure of it, but I needed to validate that thing that okay, this is actually a problem.
Yeah.
So when everything was done, we launched the entrepreneurship program under Archie Media Agency. So that program specifically was dedicated to individuals, like spotlighting individuals who had amazing stories. So where the problem was when we started that program was basically finding the right people. Yeah, so a lot of people have stories, but finding them, that was some sort of challenges that we went through. But gradually everything fall back to where So just to come back to your question, right?
Yeah.
We need to understand that one of the major way to success or the entry to success is failure. Right? So when we started this thing, at some point we failed. Trust me, we failed at some point. And that kind of I was like, okay, I don't think this is something we should continue. Because this was a new concept to a lot of people. So for them to kind of adapt to it, it was a bit difficult. Some of the individuals that we reached out to, they were like, okay, but at some point the interest, they were not really seeing that interest. Yeah, so I felt like, okay, I don't think this is something we should continue. And one of the issues that we had, initially when I started this YouTube thing, my audience were not people that were based in Liberia. So most of my audience, they were either in the US or somewhere else. So trying to narrow the content to Liberians. So that was an issue. We saw a reduction in views, the number of views we were getting, which kind of affected or impacted the revenue. So I'm like, okay, I don't think I should continue with this thing. But the good thing about it, what we were doing, we're basically finding a niche, people who would be genuinely interested in what we were doing. Yeah, so after a few failures and things, and then we kept on.
Right.
We decided to expand to businesses, try spotlighting small businesses, and then within no time, bro, this thing, it became a big deal in my home country.
Impressive.
It became a very big deal. A lot of people started reaching out until, sometimes when you ask people about Archie Media, they're like, okay, I know Archie Media.
Yeah. So,
sometimes at some point you will fail, but the mindset that failure is just a temporary thing. And success is something that should be permanent. I feel that's the mindset we had. And that was the one thing that helped push the agency far. So we just need to cultivate that mindset, that atmosphere that failure is part of success. And it's something that we can learn from. And that was what I learned from.
No, definitely. That's actually impressive. Surprising, you've never told me that story. We're always together.
He was saving it for the podcast.
I like that story, and it actually kind of serves us as the case study to what I was even about to say.
Right.
So for the viewers, I'll just digest what he just said and put it in a way that you can actually apply to yourself.
Right.
So basically, you have to start with the mindset. I think this in part answers your question. You have to start with the mindset that you have to be there. You have to put yourself out there. So with Archie, right? It started with the idea of identifying a problem, and I think this is something that people really misunderstand. So whenever we talk about entrepreneurship, there's no one way to define it. Like you had said, this is something that will continue redefining for as long as we are learning, because it means different things for many people, right? And you just have to find a way in. We have to find a definition that applies to you. So with him, he identified the problem, and this is not a problem that has to apply to the entire world, and that's where we get it wrong. So whenever we think of invention or innovation, we always think about, what can I do to change the world? That's virtually impossible. You have to bring it home. All right, let me look around. Let me look around. What's the one thing that I can change around here? It doesn't have to be life changing. It could be as small as creating a platform where Liberian stories are told. It could be, I see a lot of uncut lawn around my neighborhood. Something needs to be done about it. It seems there's a shortage of bread in my neighborhood, and there shouldn't be a need for us to be driving 30 minutes to the closest convenience store. So the problems doesn't have to be big as, ending world anger. It has to be as small as, my neighborhood, the windows look dirty. I got to do something about it. It's always those small problems. And once you identify the problem, because there are a lot of problems. But not, it's not solving that problem. A way of solving that problem is a good business idea.
Yeah.
So after identifying that problem, like what Archie did, he did one thing that most businesses don't do. And I think in the subsequent podcast, we'll actually have a chat about why a lot of small businesses fail.
Yeah.
They do not validate their business ideas.
Right.
So all of us just thinks, I want to start, let's say I want to start a clothing brand, right?
Yeah.
But have you identified the need for it?
Right.
I want to start, let's say I want to start selling phones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but is there a demand for that product in your vicinity? Or after you have an idea, validate it. How do you validate it? With market research. And again, do not be intimidated by the big word market research. I mean, all of us, strategic communication. We've done strategic communications. We perfectly understand. We perfectly understand what this is, right?
Yeah,
but they say, so marketing research shouldn't be as big as what people are thinking.
Yeah.
It's just basically trying to understand if there's actually a need for your product.
Mm-hmm.
How do you validate that? Simple, market research. And you don't need those complicated tools. Google Forms can do that. If you have a few bucks to spare, you can use SurveyMonkey. Or even just yourself, you can just start going, asking around, create, focus groups, surveys. Okay, guys, I'm thinking of this idea. Do you think this is something you might be interested in?
Right.
And just talk to at least a sizable number, maybe, 25, 30, 35, assuming it's for that place. I mean, you don't want to solve a solution for the entire country and only sample 25 people. That's not possible. It's not representative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Identify the problem, validate with market research, then you can move forward. And how you move forward now is very, very different from how most individuals would handle it, right? Of course, for those that have a few bucks to spare, of course, they have the resources to do that. But fortunately, for those that might not have those necessary resources, nowadays there's so many free tools online to utilize. Like in the example of Archie here, you use the platform YouTube. It's very free to set up. I think the only cost to you is probably maybe your time when you're starting out, because most of us have smart gadgets. And this guy
cameras nowadays.
Exactly. Just need a camera. Just need a camera, and these products, these gadgets are more powerful than you can ever imagine.
Exactly.
So just that. I think when you're starting out, the cost is just gonna be your time. A free platform, producing quality content, and there are a lot of people that resonated with you. Like, what, I can actually support that, and in a way, you're slowly